Hey, coming to you live from Octane Lane here at Iron Gate Motor Condos. I'm Tom Burgess with my son Brad tonight. And Iron Gate, a lot of you know already, the first car condo in Chicagoland. When we get all done here, there'll be 170 units. We're going to look at a really exciting one tonight. We've only got one building to go, so we're almost there.
So we wanted to keep you guys engaged as best as we could with everything going on at Iron Gate while you guys aren't able to be here in person. So we wanted to bring you this unit virtually. So we'll go ahead and take a step in. I haven't checked out this unit yet either, so it'll be a first for all of us. And to start it off, we got an awesome lime green Hubcap. Just waiting outside.
SRT smoking. Great car. So our garage owner this evening, Dave. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Tom, pleasure to see you.
Good seeing you. So, tell us a little bit about your cars here, man. Very cool.
Well, it's an interesting story because everybody says, Dave, what's with all the white cars? Well, we're Pontiac people, as you can tell, for the most part. And we kind of started off with this 99 30th anniversary. We had got the 69 Firebird, which is a tribute Trans Am. So it's an LS powered car, but it is also the inspiration for the 30th anniversary. So we felt that they were good pieces to stand next to one another. So that became part of the collection. Now the 81 Trans Am, which is the one in the back over here, is a Recaro Trans Am. Also only came in white, a limited edition turbo 301 car, red Recaro interior, and the interesting story.
Closer to here, Dave.
The interesting story on this car
6 feet.
was that my wife and I, this was our first car that we bought together, way back when we were first married. So we went out looking for another Trans Am and found this one. This one actually came out of Portland, Oregon, all original car. So again,
very cool, and you got those super groovy in the day seats. Man.
Yeah, those are Recaros.
Yeah.
The first Trans Am, second gen car that came with the Recaro.
Can you get a shot of the inside of that? Because I mean, it's just a super. Yeah, it's a cool in the day interior that you got to check out.
With the red and black, so it's all 100% stock. 301 turbo car.
Yeah.
Now, these weren't known as get out of your way cars in 1981, but actually had as much horsepower as the Pontiac 400, but never became as popular. But it's a special place in our hearts because of the fact that my wife and I, actually it was my wife's car, so she'll want me to give her credit for that. And then
You're getting points, mister.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, car guys have to make sure car guys get points with the wives, man.
Now this one is 2015 Z06. So happened to be white because we kind of just loved the color combination, and happens to have the same color interior with the red seats.
Yeah, that red interior is amazing.
So it kind of became a good bookend to the 81 Trans Am. So this car is all original. I mean, there's hardly any miles on this guy, but it's a great car. We've actually taken it with a couple of the Iron Gate friends here, and we drove it up to New Glarus, went to the Spotted Cow Brewery, and had a nice little run. And I was able to keep up with all the Ferraris and the Lambos. So it worked out
Very
well.
good. Very good.
But this is a fun car to drive too. The 69 is a tribute car. They call it a tribute car because it's not the real. They made 697 real Trans Ams back in the day. But this one's probably as close to looking like one as you'll see. Just has the modern motor in it.
So you start out with this ailment, as my wife calls it, right?
Yes.
And you develop this need for space. So you started coming out to Iron Gate. I know I met you a few times.
Yes. Yeah. You and I spoke probably for a year and a half about getting a unit out here. And it became part of the conversation was, well, first off, was it too far from home? And then the other part of it was, a few years back, we used to have a place up in Wisconsin. And I told my wife, I said, I'm here more than I am going up there.
Absolutely.
So I made the point of saying, after we got out of that place, I said, we have friends right across the way here that were one of the original owners. And we said, this would be a lot of fun. I met a lot of people up here just coming up to Pullman Coffee every Saturday, or the first or the second Saturday of every month, and then the car shows. So we ended up having a lot of good times, met a lot of good friends, and decided to pull the trigger as we started to get a few more cars. And of course, the side benefit is having a place to put the cars.
Absolutely.
But that's actually been secondary to the community of Iron Gate, which is the reason why we really enjoy this place.
Absolutely. The camaraderie out here is just spectacular.
It's wonderful. We've met more friends here, lifelong friends, than we've met in 30 years.
We'll come back and talk a little bit more about these LED backlit works of art on your wall.
Yes.
I just wanted Brad to get a quick pan of them because they are spectacular. They're like 3D. It's like they're bouncing off the wall. I hope that you guys watch and get that same kind of effect. And as it gets darker outside, it really turns into magic in the garage.
So,
Dave, tell us a little bit about the vision that you had in designing and decorating your space.
Well, it always is good to help to have a wife who has a good input into things that we wanted to do. This is a 24 by 44.5 unit, so we wanted to have the lighter colors, so to make it look bigger. But the idea was to have it look more like a showroom, or like a car showroom. A lot of folks have different needs. They work on their cars. We wanted the shiny floors, which we did the shiny
The
epoxy floors.
yeah, that flooring is actually...
It's white with mother of pearl in it, and so we wanted the shiny to give it that showroom kind of as if you were in a car kind of showroom. The idea was to have more of a modern industrial vibe. As we go up, you'll see the custom,
let's check that out.
custom metal railings, which was done by Leif of Metal Madness. Ding, ding, ding. He's a fellow that's done a lot of really cool work out here.
Great railing.
In Iron Gate. And we changed the stairwell here from the original, because the original design had the stairwell coming up from in front of where you see the cross member there. We had it re-engineered to come out to the backside so that you can go straight up, because our unit is one of the units that had the third floor. So the stairwell has a little different angle and approach than what comes standard. It also gave us the opportunity to change a little bit here. We extended the mezzanine, which has the extra 2 feet, which made a little bit more room. We didn't want to put the big refrigerator up here. That's downstairs, so my wife has a place to put all of her extra food for when we entertain. But we put the refrigerators on the counter. Gray and gold was the theme, waterfall on the countertops. And then we also had the whole place wired for sound and video. And
looks great, and from here you get that great view over.
Check this view, guys.
The garage and out into the parking in front of your unit. Which, when the doors are open, I like calling it Iron Gate tailgating, because as other owners walk by, I say, "Hey, come on in, check it out." And people are very, there's a lot of camaraderie out here, and people are having fun walking around. Last night there was a ton of people out here because of the nice weather. So
we always had the Wine Fridays.
Yeah.
People would get together and have some just really good fun times, and just get together and sit across the way from your other neighbor, have a couple of drinks, and
talk about cars.
Whatever, So
rev a few engines.
And for sure. So this became a spot where a lot of people still commiserate. So there's a place to sit. We put the washroom behind, so it's a little bit out of the way.
Yep.
It also has some of the artwork, which we'll get back to the artwork that we have on the wall, but that are on the wall are similar artists to the original prints. Art Fitzpatrick, who we'll talk about later. He was a GM advertising artist. And then Steve Mason, a friend of mine, who's an artist out of Arlington Heights, who does these hand-painted. He also did the Delahaye downstairs. In here, Art Fitzpatrick did the Can-Am, which is another Pontiac car, which we are doing a restoration.
And is this a hand painting too?
This is hand-painted. Art
Hand
Fitzpatrick
painted.
did this for a book back in the day before he passed away. That is the print of the actual backlit, which we made 6 feet big on the wall, but that's how it originated. And then, of course, Steve Macy did the Ferrari, which is awesome. I actually met Steve at the Geneva Concours.
Oh, wow.
And we bought that image from him, along with, of course, the Pontiacs. We found the Trans Am and the 63 split window, which is,
Oh, no.
oops, which is the bucket list, right?
This is spectacular. Show us the rest of how your vision's coming together here, Dave. We'll go upstairs on the third floor.
Third floor. So again, we have the stairwell going up this way, and the idea behind it was to leave everything kind of open so that when you got up here, you had the ability to walk into the bar. And
Wow.
again, as people have said, one of the cool things about Iron Gate is that when you want to share this with friends, family, it's ready. It's not like when you're at home and your wife makes you pick up all your stuff and clean up and you have to be ready for everybody to come over. This is ready, and I can't tell you how many folks we've been able to share this with that have really had
Absolutely.
good times and enjoyed having fun up here. And it's like being in your own space. And it becomes part of the car culture, but it also becomes part of people just getting together, which was important. Our family, our daughters come up here with their friends. It's been a good time.
Absolutely. Well, and that's so much of the Iron Gate culture. I mean, it truly is a family place. I was, always impressed from the get-go that this was places that, as your neighbor across from your friend, one time somebody alluded to an Iron Gate motor condo as a man cave, and she said, "Oh no, these are family caves."
Yes, indeed.
So welcome to the family cave. This particular cave has an 11-foot ceiling with 9.5-foot sidewalls. So you're on a 3rd floor, and it just has that kind of fun juxtaposition that, this isn't your grandmother's attic. This is really huge volume, fun space up here.
Well, that kind of became part of the start. You start with the 20-foot unit, then you go to 24 because you want to get the extra space. You start talking to people, and then it becomes a little more. And then my wife comes down and says, "Well, if you're going to have to go in and
Right.
get the unit, you might as well get the 3rd floor so that I can enjoy it a little more
Right.
as well." And again, my good friend Dave, who has the unit across the way, who was one of the original owners, was a really big help in kind of sharing his space with me and giving me some insight, because he had a 3rd floor, because there's one 3rd floor unit on each side of the building. So
Yep.
we decided that was an important part of it for us.
And look at this great, comfortable family space. Dave has kind of a similar huge sofa. So, I mean, it's just nice. Come up here, kind of sprawl out, watch TV, watch a ball game.
Yep.
This spectacular bar, you've got to tell us about this. What a fun piece that is.
Well, this became part of this idea of what we were going to do up here with trying to get the industrial modern vibe. Actually, the first thing we bought for the bar were these atomic era designed bar stools, which I found from an antique dealer. These came out of a country club, so probably 60, 70 years old. We were just talking about what it might have been like back in the day to sit in one of these when you pulled up with your big finned car. And,
Absolutely.
and
You're
had a martini.
pulling up in your big fin, 300 or Caddy 62 series convertible. You had your pack of cigarettes and your beautiful martini sitting on the bar with you.
But they were in great shape, so we bought them, and then we didn't know where it was going to go with the bar vibe, but we found this at a resale store out in South Elgin, and it's obviously like a 1,000-pound piece that we weren't going to just put on our back and lug up 3 stories. So we disassembled into 5 pieces, brought 4 guys up here and carried it up separately, and then reassembled it back up on the 3rd floor. It was made by a company out in Indiana, Nissan Relics, great people, and I found them and talked to them about duplicating, make it look like the front. This is a old bowling alley top that they salvaged out of a bowling alley in Wisconsin, and we were able to pick the core bowls in all the cool colors and the dental moldings and made it look like it belonged to this part of the bar. So the vibe became, again, kind of that industrial, but a little bit of old school to match it up and give you that sense that you're in a bar that was, something you might have sat in maybe years ago.
Yeah, you definitely get it. It feels great. Very comfortable, very inviting. Bet you have some great times up here.
Yeah, we had to throw a couple of the bar lights in, which became part of a Christmas gift we were buying for one of our employees. And while we were there, getting them a Cubs old style sign, we found these and they became part of the bar. And I know you were talking about the guitars. That's a little bit of an extra hobby that I have. And so I had a couple little iconic guitars, the Eddie Van Halen guitar over there, and Les Paul GT. Everybody's got to have a Les Paul, a carbon fiber guitar for the gearheads.
There you go.
Which you need to have. And then on the other side, kind of see that, right?
Yeah, see the carbon.
Yeah, the cool thing about a carbon
they
fiber
laid
guitar
that out.
is you can stick that in the trunk of your car in a 100-degree day, it'll stay in tune. It won't move like a wood guitar. And then the other two on the other side is 2 of my iconic favorites, Stevie Ray Vaughan and then Jimi Hendrix guitar on the other end.
Very cool.
So every once in a while, the acoustics are good up here. I can come on up here, grab a beer, and pick up a guitar and play a little bit.
Yeah, fun.
But just part of the things that I enjoy. And so when I come here, I enjoy looking at these. I also build some Strats as a little sideline thing that I've sold for some artists over a course of time. So these aren't any of those, but these are just good fun.
Excellent. Hey, tell us a little bit about your hubcap sculpture / artwork on the wall there, because that's spectacular.
The thing about having all this tight wall space, right, is that you have a ton of walls. So you can put some TVs on it, which is great because we watch Super Bowl over here and you have a lot of people, everybody gets a good view. But when we were deciding what we're going to do with a big wall space going up the stairs, I was mentioning that part of the thing that we like to try to do is my wife likes to antique. So, you know, if you're going to go ahead and follow around and talk with your wife and want to be part of what her day is like, she's out looking for different antiques, I'm looking for hubcaps. So it started with 4 Pontiac hubcaps, and over time I started to find a bunch of different ones, iconic ones, SS, old Dodge ones, any kind that we thought looked kind of cool. And we hung them as a kind of a different thing to follow yourself up the upstairs.
I think it looks spectacular.
Yeah, we had the vibe with, again, the car art without getting too much on the nostalgia side, but still giving it the idea that it's a car place.
Right. So, and then you did a beautiful job in here, or should I say Leslie did a beautiful job.
Yes. I'll give my wife all the credit in the world for coming up with a lot of the good design. I just lugged the tile up. But yeah, it's a full bath, which again, as part of your design theme and ideas, you put a full bath. It works better from a financial perspective as well when you have the extra full bath and a kitchenette in your unit. So it also helps on those long Wine Friday nights if you want to stay the night, you know, you can park it and come on in. So this was actually a Pure One dresser that I cut holes in and made a double vanity out of.
Works perfect.
And the trades here at Iron Gate are top notch, all great work. Janet, hats off to her for doing a lot of the sub work. I always got to give her credit for keeping it all together because it's a lot of work.
It sure is.
And the Iron Gate people did excellent work in keeping the things moving along, and we were still able to do the things that we wanted to get involved with to make it work well.
And to make it yours and to let that vision that you had for the space really come shining through. So
well, again, it's an eclectic kind of a space, so you find goofy things like this, which we found in Madison, Wisconsin. We didn't know what it was for, but guess what? It found its way out here.
It's there now.
Friends come out to visit. They bring their Route 66 sign. That was actually from my nephew-in-law, I guess you'd say it.
That's
Thanks,
perfect.
Joel. Hats off to him for coming by and bringing something in. An extra hubcap on there. So
awesome.
There's a lot of different stuff. Again, that becomes just part of the theme and the culture.
Okay. Well, thanks for showing us up here. Let's go back downstairs and check out that cool LED backlit art. You know, I really like what you did here too. The epoxy on the stairs.
Yeah.
It feels right. It's great. It's grippy. It's easy to clean, and it looks super.
Yeah, we went with again the black because the idea of getting with the
it matches up great.
And originally, if you look, this is all rough, and we had it clear coated because after a while it starts to oxidize. We were going to paint it black, and everybody said, "No, you got to leave it alone and have all the rough." Sanded edges, and we did. So it was actually shinier, but now it will stay that way forever.
That looks great.
And then the same folks who did the epoxy floor did the stairwell, and those are the carpenter-built stairs, so it worked out really well.
Yeah, excellent.
So,
okay.
We wanted to talk a little bit about the little garage art. We have a little division of my company. My company builds exhibits for trade shows, and we build these things as big as 30-foot long walls. And it's large format seams. This is a perimeter LED, light up, and it really pops all the color. These images here are from, as I mentioned earlier, he did Cadillac for a while. He was most iconically known for Pontiac. So a lot of the GTO, Firebird, and all those Pontiac ads from back in the 60s, through the early 70s was Art Fitzpatrick. He lived to be about 96 years old. What a great artist. And I was able to actually speak with his widow, who I worked with in order to get the files in order to make these large format. So we can build these in any size, providing we can get a digital formatted image to make the file and print it.
That's spectacular. And these two cars here were definitely the two that pulled up to the bar and were sitting on those bar stools. That's what you drove.
Well, that I liked, 59 elbow convertible. This was also part of the 50s fins and chrome.
Absolutely.
On these were made into postage stamps. This one is the 60 series special, which is a 58 Cadillac. This would have been something you would have saw either on the advertisement or it would have been in the brochure. Art Fitzpatrick always put somebody in the image and they never were looking at the car. So you'll always see one of Art's images, they're always looking the opposite way. He converted back when he was a little bit older. Now these over here on the other wall are 63 split window, again that bucket list car. That image was done by Jeff Kimball, and again it's a high-res image that we purchased and we were able to replicate into a large format. And this is 87 by 58 in terms of the size. And these are again extruded aluminum, perimeter LEDs. We have a switch on the wall that we can turn these on and off so they don't have to stay lit all the time. And we just photoshopped the 63 split on the rear of the license plate just to make it less common. This is an actual photograph so you can see just how crisp and clear that turned out to be. The other, I mentioned to you the artist Steve Macy, is from Arlington Heights. He is a talented artist, does automotive art. And this is a 37 Delahaye M35 Cabrio. We like the image again largely because who doesn't love a Delahaye? And the art in the background just really gave it an interesting, good look. This is the largest of the images here. This one's 72 by 81. And again, these are LED perimeter graphics. And there's a back panel to it. And they're just mounted directly on the wall. We put a switch. We have an outlet or a switch over here and an outlet anywhere on the wall. And you can plug those in. And there's a little transformer in the backside. So there's, in terms of cost, you just have to purchase the artwork. Or if you have your own artwork that you own and it's high resolution, we can use that artwork and make it to any size. And again, they change based upon the format of the original image. But we can crop them or make them to fit. In our case, we just kind of worked into the space and we had a lot of space.
And Dave's quoted me on some very large format for a space that I'm going to be building out here in the next probably 4 to 5 months. And they're very reasonable in terms of the amount of coverage that you're getting. You can't get a piece of art anywhere near this for the dollar spent, in my opinion. And plus, they're just spectacular. Can we do one thing, because it's kind of I came in here one time and you had the lights off, and so can we just turn off the unit lights? Not all of them, just like the back lights. Because, you know, as the lights go off, can you imagine you're in your space?
There you can see the difference. There is without,
right,
and that's without.
You're in your space, it's quiet, you're watching TV, and you've got these cars that are just absolutely alive on the wall. So just great presentation. What a spectacular vision come to life here, man. I mean, just really awesome. So,
well, you know, the space is inspiring, the whole, because of the community. You have an idea when you get here of what it's going to be because of the automotive and the friends that you develop who have that same thing in common with you. And then there's condos here that are fabulous. They have memorabilia that's really hardcore stuff that when you go through this whole development, you'll find all kinds of great looking different designs and themes. And ours, this just developed to how we loved it.
Yeah.
And again, we also were able to take and use what we do for a living, which were these large backlit graphics. We've actually been able to produce 5 or 6 of them here for different owners here. Some of their own photography for cars that they own, some of things that they just love. And we were able to find different images, and we can license those images and then just make them in large format, as big as anyone wants, or as small for that matter.
Right.
Whatever in a space that fits. We're just doing one for Nick over here, and he needed an exact 4-foot wide space, and he loved the Delahaye, so we were able to make that in a specific size for him. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that.
Yes.
And it's going to look beautiful. It'll be really nice. And so that inspires, like, oh, this would be great to have something in this space. And it's different than just a static piece. And again, I have a lot of smaller pieces, which are great for where they are, but in these big open
Right.
spaces, this kind of gives that impact. And so
Absolutely.
we were real happy. We get a lot of comments from folks who come on in and have the opportunity that we can share with this, and it's a comment that they always make about that they can enjoy having these large images. And then having something that has been around, cars that have been around well before many of these folks who come here have been born.
100%.
So-
And that you can take a high-res image that's dear to me
Yes.
and turn it into something that's truly like a work of art that I can put on my wall.
Yes.
That's with me for the rest of my life. And someday Brad will need to figure out what to do with it.
Well, the
Absolutely.
image that you had is really high res, and it's done by the photographers that come through
Yep.
at Iron Gate.
Yep.
And it's going to be fabulous because the colors are great, the cars are great, the location was phenomenal where it's going to be. So,
Well, we've got another one. So now we got two.
well, yep, well, we were looking
Just
forward
like
to it.
cars, you know, I mean, it doesn't stop with one, right? It just, you get one, it's like, wow, that's really cool. And then the next thing you know, you get another one. That's really cool. And the next thing you know, you're at Iron Gate.
Well, you know, that's kind of what happens. You love what you do and everything, but now when you can do something like that and have it in a car theme,
Right.
what a great opportunity to do that, and then have other people who love it just as much.
Fan.
And that's something that makes us feel good. So when we bring those things over after they're done and they look at it and they go, wow, this is better than I can expect.
Right.
And we're happy to be able to do those well. And shout out to my guy Adam at my office who
Yes.
does hard work on this stuff and gets it done right and does a really good job of getting these things done.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you very much
Well, thank you
For,
very much for coming through and walking through
for hosting us.
Absolutely.
the garage as well. It
It was
was
spectacular.
Yeah, thank
Thanks.
you for having us. If you guys would like to reach out to Dave to get some more information, if you like this art and would like to potentially get some information, you could go ahead and reach out to Elite Expo Garage Art. I will go ahead and include this in the post as well. But there's a number and a website / email they can go to. But Dave, thank you again. Thank you everyone for tuning in with us and watching tonight. And
And like I end everything at Iron Gate, may there always be fuel in your tank.
thank you guys.